November 2nd, 1944. Above Germany, American bomber formations filled the skies. On the ground at Brandes Airfield, German pilot Lieutenant Gunther Andreas climbs into an extraordinary machine, the Me-163 Komet. This rocket-powered interceptor holds the title of the world's fastest operational aircraft. Today, 16 of these revolutionary fighters will launch together in their largest combat mission ever.
Andreas advances the throttle and the rocket engine ignites. The Komet accelerates down the runway at breathtaking speed. Within seconds, he's airborne, climbing almost straight up. The G-forces press him into a seat as the speedometer races past 400 miles per hour. 15 other Komets join the vertical ascent through thick cloud cover. Their mission? Protect fuel refineries from the incoming Allied raid.
Breaking through the clouds into brilliant sunshine, Andreas throttles back to conserve his limited fuel supply. What he witnesses next is staggering, an aerial armada stretching to the horizon. 2,000 Allied aircraft in tight formation, 900 heavy bombers protected by 1,100 fighter escorts. It's an overwhelming display of air power, heading directly toward the German industrial targets below.
The Komets scatter across the sky. Andreas and his wingman, Sergeant Jakob Bohlenrath, position themselves above the formation. They exchange a glance, both aware this could be their final flight. Bohlenrath peels away to begin his dive. Andreas pushes his throttle forward and plunges toward the bombers at incredible velocity. The closing speed is so extreme that the bomber formation appears frozen in place. With only seconds to aim, Andreas opens fire with his twin 30mm cannons. Shells tear into a B-17's wing before he dives beneath the formation, safely away from their defensive guns. He scored hits, but not a kill. Not enough.
The bombers release their payloads and turn for home. Damaged fortresses lag behind the formation, vulnerable prey. Andreas still has fuel remaining and decides to attack again. He maneuvers beneath the formation, throttle at idle to conserve every drop. The massive bombers pass overhead as he selects his target. Andreas slams the throttle to maximum. The rocket engine roars back to life, accelerating him to nearly 600 miles per hour. He pulls up sharply, attacking from directly below. But the B-17's ball turret gunner spots the incoming threat and swivels his twin machine guns toward the approaching Komet. Andreas centers his crosshairs and fires. One cannon jams immediately, but he's committed. The ball turret gunner responds, sending streams of .50 caliber rounds toward the rocket plane. Andreas holds steady as bullets streak past. His remaining cannon strikes the bomber's underside repeatedly. Then the American gunner finds his mark.
The bullet penetrates the cockpit, sending shrapnel into Andreas's forehead above his left eye. The round continues through the armor plate behind him and punctures the fuel tank. His confidence evaporates instantly. That tank contains highly volatile rocket fuel, notorious for spontaneous explosions and horrific pilot injuries. Andreas breaks away from the formation immediately. He must escape the aircraft, fast. He dives away at maximum speed. Enemy tracers chase him, but he's already gone. Knowing the plane could explode at any moment, Andreas unbuckles and reaches for the canopy release. It won't move. He pushes with all his strength against the wind resistance holding it closed, but it's stuck fast.
Unknown to Andreas, he's being hunted. Captain Fred Glover, commanding officer of the 336th Squadron, has been tracking the Komet from his P-51 Mustang. Seeing the contrail, Glover banks right to intercept and slides into position behind the struggling aircraft. Andreas spots the Mustang and pushes forward on the stick, attempting to dive as Glover unleashes a torrent of .50 caliber fire. Glover screams past, and Andreas tries the throttle to escape. Nothing happens. He's out of fuel. Looking over his shoulder, Andreas watches the Mustang turning back toward him. He tries the canopy again desperately. It still won't budge. He looks up to see 6 deadly machine guns pointed straight at him. Glover fires continuously, shells tearing pieces from the Komet. Entire panels peel away, exposing the aircraft's internals. His bullets rupture the fuel tanks and vapors ignite, flames spreading across the Komet's underside. Andreas rolls inverted and
and dives as he feels impacts hammering the aircraft beneath him. The Mustang follows, maintaining pursuit and firing relentlessly. Andreas still has one option. Even without an engine, the Me-163's aerodynamic design excels at high-speed dives. It might outrun the P-51 in a steep descent. Glover recognizes his window is closing and pours fire into the fragile fighter. Andreas's time is nearly up. But then, more comets emerge from the clouds. It's his squadron.
Glover abandons the pursuit, leaving Andreas to his fate, a fate that worsens by the second. Andreas maintains the dive, desperately hoping the wind speed will extinguish the volatile fuel fire. Miraculously, it works. The flames die down. Andreas levels out carefully, but moments later, the fire reignites with greater intensity. The two rocket fuel components burn on contact, creating an uncontrollable blaze. He must exit immediately. In the other Komet, Andreas continues fighting his burning aircraft. He pushes the canopy with all his strength. It remains jammed. He strains against it as heat from the fire penetrates through his seat. He's going to burn alive. Then the canopy briefly gives before slamming shut again. Suddenly, he understands. It's the airspeed. He grabs the controls and pulls up sharply, slowing down. He pushes the canopy and it swings open easily. Andreas bails from the fighter, escaping certain death.
In the other Komet, his friend Jakob Bullenrath dives down onto a bomber formation, firing a burst of shells and striking across the top of a flying fortress. As Bullenrath rockets past and pulls back on the throttle, a P-51, piloted by Captain Louis Norley, is waiting. Right before his eyes, Bullenrath's Komet comes into view. Norley throttles up. Bullenrath is not paying attention. He is preserving fuel as he prepares for another run. Then bullets zip by his field of view. He pulls into an evasive maneuver and dives down for speed. Norley turns to follow. Bullenrath looks over his shoulder and sees the sight of a P-51 Mustang right on his tail, firing a deluge of bullets from his .650 caliber machine guns. Bullenrath knows he can outrun the Mustang, but he can't afford to be hit, and so he turns hard to the left, escaping the crosshairs, but at the same time losing speed that he needs to shake his pursuer. The Mustang keeps on with the chase, pulling with all he has to bring the crosshairs onto the target. Bullenrath pulls hard on the stick, willing his little machine to turn as hard as possible to bleed off speed and force the Mustang to fly past. But Norley sees it coming. He predicts the Komet's path, lines up his sights, and pulls the trigger. .50 caliber bullets arc towards Bullenrath and strike the Komet's rear fuselage. Bullenrath ducks in his cockpit as a wave of impacts reverberate through his little fighter. But then they stop, and the Mustang flies by over his head. This is his chance. He turns away from the enemy fighter and punches the throttle to full. Instead of a roar, there's an immense bang. The engine is critically damaged by the American fire and is seized up. With no time to think, Bullenrath attempts to restart the engine, but it's no use. The Mustang turns back. Jakob sees it. There's nothing he can do. Norley opens fire. .50 caliber bullets tear into the small aircraft from tail to the cockpit. Flames flicker from the bullet holes in the Komet as it rolls over out of control.
As his parachute deploys, Andreas sees the burning remains of Bullenrath's Komet in a vertical dive toward the ground. He watches it fall. There's no parachute. Jakob Bullenrath never escaped his aircraft and was killed in action. This was the last time a Messerschmitt 163 Komet fell to a P-51 Mustang in combat. Lieutenant Gunther Andreas survived his wounds and lived through the war. Captain Louis Norley and Captain Fred Glover also survived and returned home. The Me-163 program achieved remarkable technical innovations, but ultimately failed to change the course of the air war. Speed alone couldn't overcome overwhelming Allied numbers and the Komet's dangerous limitations.